Hi everybody, this is my first video in English language, although I have prepared different subjects on political sciences, foreign policy, energy issue in Russian and Azerbaijani language, so it is actually a first experience for me, and I hope that it will be positive experience and I can make it sustainable. So this video I want to dedicate for the post-conflict condition and situation which now formed after the 44 days in Karabagh around South Caucasus region between Azerbaijan and Armenia. As it now that during the 44 days, Azerbaijan achieved a goal to return occupied territories from Armenia, and now there's a next stage how to form sustainable, stable, perpetual peace in the region. And for this, we have some start points at the agreement which was signed on November 10, 2020. And according to this declaration, more rightly explained document name, which was provided by head of the states of Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Russia. In according to this document, paragraph 9, the communication lines have to be opened between Azerbaijan and Armenia, if we shortly explain this paragraph. In this regard, the main question what I want to discuss, whether energy transport routes may cross Armenia after really peace will be achieved and both sides will negotiate on the better condition of the life. It should be noted that Azerbaijan is the only energy-rich country in the South Caucasus, mainly produced on oil and gas in the Caspian Sea in her national sector. Main assets of Azerbaijan are Azeri oil field and Shahdanis gas field. There are also some other very essential gas and oil field which possessed Azerbaijan, and so we can say that in following years Azerbaijan will sustainably supply oil and gas to the world markets. In this regard, we should go back a little bit to history to understand how the transport routes developed in the region. It should be mentioned that because of Karabagh war and that status quo does not change, Azerbaijan had very limited possibilities how to pressure on Armenia, and one of such type of pressure instrument was isolate Armenia from the regional projects. In this regard, I should mention that it started actually even from the international project which is started by European Union. It is Traseka, and Traseka first summit has been held in Baku. It's about rehabilitation of Silk Road, and according to signed document, Azerbaijan show precautions that if the freights will be exported from Armenia to Armenia or via Armenia, it cannot cross in Azerbaijani territory while the conflict will be solved. And that means if you look to the map, you can see that actually European Union, all routes had to cross Azerbaijan territory because at this time Russia and Iran were out of Traseka. So that was the start point of isolationist policy, and following this, Azerbaijan started to develop pipelines infrastructure. First pipeline was Baku-Supsa. Supsa is a city on the Black Sea. It is Georgian city, and that was projected, pipeline in order to export early oil from Azerbaijan to the world markets via Black Sea by tankers. But of course, later around mid of 2000s, main oil have to produce, and it was around capacity of 50 million ton, and major oil pipeline has been needed, and it was decided to build Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan. Ceyhan is a Turkish port on the Mediterranean Sea, and oil from Baku directly goes to this port and then to the world markets. It was successfully implemented, and later on Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum gas pipeline was built. Erzurum is a city in Turkey, so mainly this gas pumped to Georgian and Turkish markets. So if we look to the map, you can see that the shortest way for the export of oil to the world markets by Azerbaijan is actually have to cross Armenian territory. So it is also commercially attractive. But because of conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, it's never happened. So decision of construction Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan was more geopolitical rather than geoeconomic, and currently all this infrastructure already provided. As a result, Georgia actually was the main beneficiary of conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, because probably if no such conflict, high probably all pipelines will be crossing Armenian territory and not Georgia. But Georgia now is one of the important transport hub in the region, and regarding that, the Croatian gas can be such infrastructure again being via Armenian territory. It should be mentioned that alternative and diversification always positive impact on issue, even though I think that if no oil pipelines will be rebuilt via Armenian territory, but high probability that gas pipelines still can be formed, and Armenia also can be used positive impact on earning additional benefit from taxes and transit fees if the such pipeline will cross this territory. For example, such kind of like Baku-Yerevan or Erzurum or Baku-Yerevan, some other Turkish city, which is actually not so extraordinary. For this, it's important to have political will by Azerbaijan and Armenian sides for settlement of long-term life. Besides, we know that Armenia mainly import natural gas from Russia, big portion of, and the price which for this gas are not satisfied Armenian side. In this regard, Armenia always looking for alternative, and they try to buy some portion of natural gas from Iran, but because pipeline which transported oil from Iran to Armenia controlled by Armenia Gazprom, this is a company which belongs to Russian Gazprom company, so that means also the probability of diversify gas supply also very limited. Besides, the pipeline capacity was very low, and some experts say that it was built intentionally in such a manner, and that's why it's not a real alternative. If we compare prices for gas which Azerbaijan sell to Georgia and gas which Armenia buy from Russia, of course Georgian price much lower, it's around $110 per 1,000 cubic meters, while Armenia currently pay $165 per 1,000 cubic meters. The only things what Armenia have advantages from Iran, they buy natural gas and sell energy which produced from this natural gas to Iran back, so they have some advantage of difference from the prices of gas and electricity. In this regard, if the new pipeline, and actually there are some infrastructure which was existed since Soviet times, it just need to be rehabilitated, and if this will be rehabilitated, Armenia minimum will have access to alternative gas supply from Azerbaijan, and can decide which source will be more appropriate for her, and also making some diversification and so competition about gas prices, and so prices will be lower and will be additional advantage for Armenian economy. So if we talk about natural gas, which actually volumes of this Azerbaijan has for minimum 100 years to export, that means Armenia can be not only transit country regarding to this natural resource, but also making advantage for buying cheaper natural gas. Another issue, the future of energy sector related with hydrogen, and so for hydrogen is also using the methane gas, which actually is natural gas, and so high probably one of the ways to produce hydrogen for future energy source. And that's why in the future there will be also estimation how to provide sustainable, well-proved infrastructure from transportation hydrogen to the world market. So high probably new pipelines will be built in a western direction, and Armenia also can have positive impact on it. The only things what is shall be that Armenia should express a political will for making perpetual peace in the region, recognize territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, and join to the collaboration with her neighbors. And first time since the independence of three countries of South Caucasus, I mean since 1991, there will be first time a possibility for regional cooperation and integration between three countries, as in the case of cooperation between Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, which is mutually strategically important and beneficial. This is all for today. Thank you for your patience, and please be healthy. Bye.